Good morning, everyone. I am Eliza Nicole Magno, and we are the Group 7. And today, I'll be presenting an overview of research design and appraisal, focusing on a framework for evidence-based decision-making. Our starting point is understanding what is experimental study designs. As this slide indicates, experimental designs, particularly randomized controlled trials or RCTs, are considered as the gold standard when we aim to establish causality in research. These designs are characterized by three essential properties. First is randomization, which minimizes selection bias. Second one is control, and it is achieved through the use of a comparison group to establish a baseline. And lastly, manipulation, which involves active intervention by the researcher to test a specific effect. And this slide also emphasizes the importance of critical appraisal and evidence-based practice. Critical appraisal involves the systematic evaluation of clinical research papers to ensure that our practices are informed by the best available evidence. And lastly, this slide also presents a Venn diagram illustrating the key components that contribute to effective decision-making in research. These components are best research available, resources including practitioner expertise, and the preferences, values, and cultural context of customers, clients, or stakeholders. As the diagram shows, informed decision-making requires the integration of all three of these elements. In conclusion, these slides provides a foundational understanding of research design, critical appraisal, and the importance of integrating evidence, expertise, and stakeholder values in decision-making. This framework is crucial for ensuring that our practices are both effective and aligned with the needs and values of those we serve.
For the article critique and review, we are summarizing our critical appraisal of the article, focusing on 4 crucial aspects of its methodology and conclusions. Firstly, the appropriateness of the design. First, we assess the appropriateness of design. We concluded that the randomized controlled trial or the RCT design was highly suitable for research questions. The RCT structure allowed the researcher to successfully isolate the variable of texting and establish a direct causal link to stress reduction. This is a much stronger level of evidence compared to simple correlational studies, which can only show association. Next, we examine the validity and reliability of the results. The internal validity was deemed high due to the strict process of random assignment of participants. Reliability was supported by the use of validated measurement tools such as the PANAS C-scales. However, a key finding was that while psychological measures or the mood change, the lack of physiological change, specifically in heart rate variability or the HRV, suggests the effect observed may be primarily psychological, which is an important nuance in interpreting the results. Next to validity and reliability is the biases. In evaluating the threats to the study, we look at biases. While randomization effectively minimizes broad confounding biases, a potential selection bias remains a concern. The study used pre-existing friend dyads, pairs of adolescents who were already close and comfortable with texting each other. This sample may exclude individuals with less robust social support or those less familiar with digital communication, potentially skewing the positive outcomes and limiting the real-world applicability to broader populations. Finally, we identified significant limitations. The results are strictly limited to immediate, short-term recovery measured in a controlled, safe laboratory setting. This highly controlled environment, while boosting internal validity, reduces external validity. Therefore, the general outcome of these findings to real-world, long-term coping strategies or older adolescent population facing different stressors is significantly limited. we cannot assume this quick fix applies universally or lasts over time.
Good day everyone, I am Lizelle Feilindawan and I will be discussing our individual critical appraisal. For our individual critical appraisal, in the key point summary we have two. The psychological benefit and the psychological gap. The research showed a clear psychological benefit, specifically for participants who texted a friend for emotional regulation. They reported a significantly higher mood and lower perceived stress compared to those using only passive distraction. However, we encountered a psychological gap. Despite this strong subjective feeling of relief, there was no significant change found in the heart rate variability or HRV between groups. This suggests that while they felt better, the physiological measure of their stress response remained unchanged. Now let us turn to the methodology. For the strength, we have the randomized control trial or RCT design. It is the gold standard for establishing cause and effect. It is used here in the study along with the inclusion of a passive control group that helps establish strong causality and internal validity. The design successfully isolate the social variable, which is texting a friend, from mere distraction. The primary concern lies with ecological validity, the weakness. The study took place in an artificial lab setting and the duration was likely short. This kind of setting and short time frame may not capture the long-term coping mechanism or truly reflect the pressure of real-world interactions. In short, how well do these lab findings apply to real life? This critique led us directly into our group discussion. For our group discussion, we have three key areas to cover: a comparison of perspective, central discussion question, and a methodology debate. For the comparing perspective, we have clear split in the data. On one hand, we have the subjective, and on the other hand, we have the objective. For the subjective reports, the participant felt significantly better or improved mood. And for the objective data, their bodies, measured by HRV, showed no change. This brings us to the core discussion question. If the physiological stress response remains high, is that feeling better testing a true coping mechanism or is it perhaps just a distraction? A temporary cognitive feeling that leaves the underlying stress response untouched. For the debating methodology, let's re-emphasize the strength. The RZT design, the randomized control trial design, successfully isolated the social variable from general phone use that gives us the confidence that the texting caused the subjective mood change or the improved mood. The weakness, as we noted, is ecological validity. Does this safe, controlled lab environment truly reflect the high stakes risk of real world social stress? Because there are issues like ghosting, cyberbullying, and the lab environment might be too clean to show the full picture of stress. For the debate point, what is the acceptable trade-off between strict control and real-world applicability? Is strong internal validity worth sacrificing some ecological validity and vice versa? And where should the line be drawn in psychological research?
My name is Joseph Benedict Cruz, so I'll be discussing critique of the study. I'll discuss four parts: strength, weaknesses, potential biases, limitation, and then actionable recommendations. Firstly, we have strengths. RCT design ensures high internal validity, establishes a clear causal link between texting and mood improvement. A major strength ng study na to is paggamit nila ng randomized control trial. Since RCT siya, mataas yung internal validity. Ibig sabihin, reliable yung conclusion na texting can actually cause mood improvement. Di lang siya correlation, merong malinaw na causal link dahil controlled ang setup. Second, we have weaknesses. Artificial lab setting reduces ecological validity, cannot fully replicate real-world social risks. Kahit maganda ang control ng RCT, ang downside naman ay artificial lab setting ang ginamit. Dahil nasa lab, hindi fully napapakita yung real-world social situations, so mababa ang ecological validity, meaning hindi sigurado kung same effects ang mangyayari in real-life texting situations. Third, potential biases. Selection bias from friend. Participants likely have high pre-existing social support. May possibility ng selection bias kasi participants were friends. Since magkakaibigan na sila, meron silang high pre-existing social support. This can influence how they respond emotionally, so hindi siya representative of people who have low support or who text strangers. Fourth, we have limitation. Study only measured immediate effects, lacks data on long-term coping or physiological changes. The study only measured immediate effects, wala silang data on long-term coping, long-term mood changes, or physiological indicators like HRV. So hindi natin alam kung temporary lang ba ang effect or nagtatagal siya. And lastly, we have actionable recommendations. Study only measured the immediate effects, lacks data on long-term coping or physiological changes. Since short-term outcomes lang ang sukat, future research should include long-term assessments, such as long-term coping improvements or physiological responses. Mas magiging meaningful ang findings if makita kung sustainable ba yung benefits ng texting when dealing with stress. Overall, strong ang internal validity dahil sa RCT, pero limited ang real-world applicability. And to strengthen future research, kailangan talaga ng long-term data.